Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault, and we're going to talk about Black Myth Wukong, the Monke game that just came out from, was it Game Science last week, to the tune of 10 million in sales in 3 days, and the second most concurrent players in the history of Steam at 2.4 million. So let's cue up the music and we'll get right to it. All right, what we're talking about today is legal analyst asserts that Dot Esports Tom Foley defamed Black Myth Wukong developer Game Science. So let's get into this story now. Now, to bring you up to speed on this, if you haven't been paying attention, IGN put out an article a month or so ago, a little bit, a little while before the game was released, stating that Game Science, the studio was sexist and misogynistic and all the normal crap that these bitchy, entitled female games journalists like to talk about, because it's always about them, right? It's always about, no, they don't like women, and oh, they're misogynist. It's a wonder. You know what? Y'all are tourists in this industry. Get the fuck out of this industry and go back to wherever you came from. Leave gaming back to the gamers, man. It's time to take this industry back from losers like that. But in any case, yeah, they wrote this article, and then several other Western quote-unquote journalists took this article as fact and compounded things by reporting on it like it was actual fact. And it's absolute garbage. So anyway, legal analyst Andrew Esquire asserted that blah, blah, blah. We know all about that. In a recent video upload to his YouTube channel, Legal Mindset, Esquire said that Foley defamed Game Science in his recently published article titled Black Myth Wukong's shameless lack of diversity is attracting the wrong type of fans. He said, it's worth pointing out that what he's saying is essentially, at certain points, defamatory. It's business defamation. Business defamation being making false statements that harm a business's reputation or their, business. This, of course, is business, etc., etc. So, this is a game. You play as a monkey. The protagonist is a monkey. And it's based off of an old book. I guess it's considered Chinese mythology, maybe, or it's just an ancient, an old novel from hundreds of years ago, or a story, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know the exact thing about it, but it's Journey to the West is what it's based off of. And it's a translated title, of course. And it's about the Monkey King, and as he makes his way west and has to, fight all these different, things and overcome all these challenges and so forth and so on. And it's supposed to be a pretty cool story. In fact, I will be buying that book just to read it because it's got me fascinated. I don't have a lot of time for reading anymore, but something like that sounds like it could be kind of fun to read through, especially in the context of playing this game. I'm not going to buy Thomas Lockley's Black Samurai garbage, but an old kind of mythological book based on Monkey Kings and stuff like that sounds pretty badass. So we'll definitely check that out. But yeah, these guys are talking about diversity in there, and it's absolutely insane. This is what we've come to in the gaming industry, where every game, they want to force an agenda into it. They want to force homosexuality into it, right? Or lesbianism, or both, bisexuality at the very least, and hopefully transgenderism if they can, because that's the big hot topic these last 2 years, transgenderism. All right? And if not that, then they definitely want to make sure that there's strong female characters leading the game instead of, just a regular old guy like the Monkey King. They would want the Monkey Queen. They want black characters instead of white characters all the time because, diversity, everything is black now, not white, even where it wouldn't make any sense to make them black. I'm looking at you, God of War, Ragnarok, and Angerboda. And my caveat is always, the young lady did a fantastic job playing a role. But still, Black Norse, Ice Giant? Come on, man. It's just silly. So, yeah, this is what they push for all the time. And it makes zero sense, right? Let's continue on with this article. From there, Esquire went through much of the article. At one point, he quotes Foley, who wrote, "Considering the reports of sexism running rampant within the developer's workplace, we can only speculate, but I strongly believe Wukong's lack of diversity is adding fuel to the fire, Esquire commented. This is defamation. He's got no proof of this right at all whatsoever, so that's defamatory. He's defaming them right there. Here's the thing. Foley is using IGN as a source here. What garbage is that? I mean, that's a garbage rag. You don't use IGN as a source for anything unless you want to make it fake. It's like using CNN as a source for something. You can't trust them, right? They may once in a while throw something against the wall that sticks and is actually true, but you can guarantee that everything they put out there has some sort of left-leaning bias to it, and it's been written by an activist, not a journalist. So we'll continue. As far as reports of sexism running within the developer's workplace, they do not exist. There is one report from IGN, we talked about, that has been repeated by multiple media outlets, including The Guardian and GameSpot. And this is the incestuous relationship in gaming journalism. And it's just like that with regular journalism, too. You know, IGN puts something out there, GameSpot and The Guardian pick it up and say, oh yeah, according to this and that, and blah, blah, blah. Now all of a sudden you have this same story located in 3 different places, and it lends it a certain legitimacy because people believe it's true, even though they didn't come to these findings separately. So moving on, the report written by Rebecca Valentine, who, by the way, is missing in action on X these days. She went protected. And Ki Hoon Chan, who probably is doing the same thing, accused the company of sexism based on social media posts from the developers and old recruitment posters for the company. The duo wrote, "Beneath the luster of this Souls-like is a studio plagued by claims of sexism. Several posts have surfaced from Chinese social media site Weibo, written by individuals from the studio that contain multiple references to genitalia and sexual innuendos." Oh my god. Can you make it a little more dramatic, you clowns? That's what they are. They're a bunch of clowns. Look at... Let's move on. The social media posts are highly disputed, with a number of individuals noting they were mistranslated or were translated in the most uncharitable way possible. The video from Asmongold Clips referenced one such social media post from co-founder Feng Ji, noting that his comment is a used idiom in the Chinese language as a colloquial expression used humorously or sarcastically to describe a situation where excessive flattery or sycophancy has an overwhelming and paralyzing effect on someone. The use of such metaphors can be found in informal speech on social media. Furthermore, the clip notes that other posts that IGN used in the smear article were translated in the most uncharitable way possible, in order to push the narrative that the developer is sexist and misogynistic. I'll link, as I always do, to the articles. You guys can go through, you can watch any of these things that you want, listen to them yourselves. A lot of interesting stuff to unpack here. And, and it brings up the point of the nuance of language. And I've talked about this before. Language... It's hard to translate things directly, right? As someone who, I'm an English speaker. I also speak some Spanish. I'm self-taught mainly, but I've learned, through the years, worked with and been close with a lot of Spanish people in my entire life. So I speak quite a bit of it. I'm not fluent by any stretch of the imagination, but it's easy to see how a simple word flipped around can change the meaning of something, And I can say something in English that is funny and say, oh, blah, 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 that's cute or whatever. But if you translate it word for word into Spanish, it could be insulting and make somebody very upset. And I've had that happen firsthand. That's experienced firsthand there. So there's nuance in these things. And, you can't always trust a translation. And especially now that we're letting AI do translations. I mean, we've already seen what AI does to pictures. Can you imagine how it translates things? Unbelievable. Anyway, Chinese YouTuber Fei Fi also noted that IGN mistranslated Feng Ji's comments. She stated that what he was trying to convey in Chinese was, "I just wanted to recruit a few people but received more praise than expected, which made me feel uneasy." She then stated, "However, just because I understand what he was trying to say doesn't mean I approve of the way he said it. You could call him rude or crude, but there's no need to label him as sexist." In fact, she goes on to detail that there was significant Chinese backlash for these remarks. The backlash against them on the Chinese internet actually started at this point when the first video came out and wasn't anything new. The inappropriate remarks from before were dug up and widely spread at this time. This spread reached beyond the gaming community, and every year since, whenever they release a new video, it sparks another wave of criticism with people arguing fiercely over it. IGN's report last year was late to the game. Furthermore, here's where it gets really spicy and fun. Ki-Hu Chan recently called for a boycott of the game and even encouraged his followers. Is it his or his and her? Or I don't know. This is probably one of those people that... I digress. Anyway, encouraged his followers to commit the crime of piracy, calling into question his integrity and the integrity of the initial report in general. Chan wrote, "I'm so effing pissed off. This has gone too far. Don't play Black Myth Wukong. If you must, go and pirate it. If you enjoy it, I do not want to know it. F Game Science and all the grifters who are doing this to one of my fave people in the industry." And I guess he's talking about that clown who wrote the article, Valentine, who's now in hiding. And this asshole should just go right with her. I mean, look at this. Ki-Hoon says free Palestine. You know, this is an activist. This is not a gamer. This is another tourist in this industry that needs a firm kick in the ass and be sent on his way to get the fuck out of it and get out of it forever. All right? We don't want people like this in gaming anymore. We've let them infect gaming. We've let them destroy gaming. Western gaming is now a joke. When's the last time a Western game came out that wasn't full of garbage activism? It's really hard to pick one out, okay? Even on a small scale, there's just something in there, you know? Always, they've got to inject something in there. They've got to inject themselves in there. They've got to see themselves in the game, because without proper representation, you know, they can't enjoy the game. And we look at, you know, let's look at a couple recent releases, and we've talked about these quite a bit lately. Concord, which is a 5v5 live service game that PlayStation put out that couldn't top, I think, 700 or 800 concurrent players its first weekend, its opening weekend on Steam. Now, that's not taking into consideration PlayStation numbers. I got that. That's going to be a whole different thing. But come on, dude. You know, and the fact that it's, you know, yeah, it's a woke-looking game. They got all these creepy-looking characters in there that are just really weird and gay-looking and all that. They got pronouns for them, all that. You know, and while that's not the only reason the game failed, I mean, there's a number of reasons this game failed, from just disgusting, awful character design like that, to the pronouns, to the fact that they're releasing a game into a flooded market. It came out the same time as Wukong, and, you know, this and that. There's a ton of reasons this game's failed, and it's not going to get any better. And you got the developers out there pissing and moaning and, you know, lashing out. That's not going to make things better, guys. So this one's dead in the water. Goodbye. Then we got another one, Dustborn. Dustborn was born to fail. You know, this game was basically a stillbirth. It didn't even top 100 players. And it's a game where you use words as a weapon, and you want to cancel people and trigger people and all that. And it's basically like an Antifa simulator, where you travel, I guess, across the country. There's some kind of road trip. You're in this weird van that probably smells like feet and patchouli oil. And, or is it a van? Whatever. But, you know, you can just smell it, you know. And all the characters are so diverse. There's some non-binary looking thing that looks like that gay vampire from Baldur's Gate. The main character is a black girl with edgy chest tattoos. The driver of the cars is fat. Now, I can't tell if she's Spanish or American Indian or whatever, but she's got vitiligo. And then there's a guy in the back seat who looks like gay Doctor Strange. It's a really horrible looking game. Not even 80 people playing it concurrently at its best time. You know, just total failure. So this industry is rejecting this kind of stuff and embracing Wukong. And for somebody like this to be so angry about it, well, maybe you're in the wrong business. Maybe it's time for you to go. You know, you've done enough damage here. You've hurt enough games. Go away. Go into some other industry and try to be happy there, because you're not wanted here. Okay? You're not wanted here. I can tell you that right now. By the majority of gamers don't want you. Okay? They don't want you, and they don't want people like you. So let me know what you think down in the comments below about this. Is it defamation what they're doing? Maybe, maybe not. Should they sue? Probably not. It's probably not even worth the time suing. These guys are making money hand over fist right now with this game, and hopefully it propels them to do more in the future. I've played some of it. We're going to do some stuff on Black Myth Wukong on this channel here. Not sure which direction I want to take with it right now, but I got to play some of it, and what I've played was a lot of fun. No, it's not a Souls game, so don't let people tell you it's a Souls game. I'm not a big Souls fan. They're, you know, frankly too tough for my old ass to play with my, you know, my decrepit hands. No, I'm just joking. But, you know, but they're really challenging for someone that's older and you don't have the same reflexes that you used to, you know. So, but in any case, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace.